Good morning. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll start with the 10th chapter, that is communication and network concepts. So very first thing is, what do you mean by computer network? So what is computer network? That is, it is a collection of interconnected computing devices so as to exchange the information or share the resources. So the thing is, collection of interconnected computing devices. What do you mean by this line? It means there are so many computers connected together with the one central device. For what we have to connect all these devices? Obviously for exchanging the information or to share the resources. If everyone is connected with a one server, so obviously at that time every computer can easily connect with each other and can share information or can share the resources as well. So what do you mean by resources here? If there is a one printer, so, and everybody wants to take the printout. So it is a common for all those. It means that is a shareable resources. Okay, so what are the various advantages and disadvantages of the computer network? The very first thing advantage is it is expensive peripheral devices can be shared, such as a laser printer and scanner. So we know these devices are very much expensive. And when we just when we connect all these devices with various computers, at that time, it means we use only one expensive device and everybody can enjoy the services from that. So it is a one advantage of it. Message can be sent between the users, so many users are connected along with each other. So if one can want to send message to the other one, so they can easily share the messages between each other. All users can access the same file because everyone is connected with each other. If computer one wants a file which is on the computer third, so they are interconnected, so they can easily access the file because that file is common with all of them. Software can be placed on the server and accessed by the several users, which saves money. So what do you mean by this? It means whatever the software you want, so it should be placed only on the one server. One server means you are not supposed to put it on all the computers. It is supposed to put on the one server only. And every computer which are interlinking with that server, they can enjoy that software because all the computers are connected with the server only. And obviously it saves the money also because if the 20 computers are connected with one server, so all the 20 computers can enjoy the services of that software, but we install only one software on the server only. So obviously it saves the money also. So disadvantages. Disadvantages, right? Wiring can be expensive buying and installation. So when we want to connect 20 computers with the one server, so obviously more wires will also be required at that time. So when we want to install all these wirings between the computers, so it become little bit costly. So that's why it is written here as expensive buying and installation. Installation also takes some time and it also be a little bit costly. If a van is used sophisticated and the rental of telecommunications link, it is very expensive. So whenever we want to make it a van, if a van is used sophisticated and rental of, what do you mean by this? So if they are using the wires of the telecommunication links, so at that time it becomes more expensive because at that time they uses the wires, not a simple wire, they use the fiber optics wires, and that is a very much costly. And this is the one important point, and this is a big disadvantage of the computer network. If the server breaks down, the whole network becomes unusable. So everything is dependent on the server only. And if it will be a breakdown, if it will be a lower down, means it will not communicate properly, the whole network will of no use. Why? Because everyone is connected with the server only and the server is not responding. So how other computers will be a response? So these are the advantages and the disadvantages of the computer network. So now this is the next is the component. So what are the various components of the computer network? The very first thing is a host or nodes. So what do you mean by host or nodes? So host or nodes are nothing. It refers to only the computers. So what are these? Computers that are attached to a network. So what is this? Computers that are attached to the network. So host and nodes are the same thing. Computers that are attached to the network. So this is the host. Or we can say that all the PCs, laptop, smartphones. So when they connect to the computer, all this becomes the host itself. Next is servers. Server is a very important in a computer network. Why? Because it is only a one which is responsible for making the networking happens. Why? Because server is a one which has to fulfill all the requirements of the client. So whatever the thing is required by the client, so server is the one only which has to fulfill all those requirements. So what is this? It is responsible for making the networking task happens, and it is one who fulfills all the requirements of the client. So whatever the thing is being required by the client, so server is the one who is responsible for it. So client is what? Now third is what? Client. So what do you mean by clients? So client is also a host computer that requests for the services from the server. It is also a host computer. Because why I said it is a host computer? Because everything that are attached to the network is known as a host. So I just write it as a host. It is also host computer which requests for services from the server. So client is one who requests all these services from the server. Okay, so this is what? This is client. Now, next is what? Next is the network hardware. So what do you mean by the network hardware? So network hardware are the one which needs some wires also, or which is being required. This is basically one type of the hardware and data required in networking. So some network hardware devices are NIC, hub, switches, routers. So these all are the network hardware. So one by one, we will deal all the these things in the later of the chapter. So I just write here only these are the, there are different type of hardware devices like NIC. NIC is Network Interface Card, router, hub, switch. So in the later part of the chapter, we will discuss all these things. So don't worry about that. So basically, we can say that these are the controlling network devices. So we have a different type of hardware, and every hardware has its own importance. So if I'm saying about the router, so router simply route the from the source to the destination point. Hub is a central bus. So everything has its own importance. So we can't link as a one part. So don't worry, we'll discuss this topic later on in this chapter only. Okay, so next is the communication channel. So what do you mean by communication channel? So in communication channel means how we can communicate with one computer to the another computer. So there are two communication channels. Either it can be a wired or it can be a wireless. So in the term of computer, we have a two things only. Either we connect with the wire or we are not connecting with the wire. That means we are taking the things from a wireless. So there are only two communication channels, wired and unwired. So wired channel is also known as a guided media. So what is written here? It is written as a guided media. Okay, so obviously when there is a wire, so we have a different type of cables in that. In the next topic, we'll discuss the various cables also. But the thing is, we are talking about here cables. In the wireless media, we are not talking about the cables. Firstly, this is known as a unguided media. Okay, so this not deal with the cables. It deals with the satellites, infrared waves, laser, and so on. Okay, so these all are the communication channels. Okay. So next is a what? It is a software. So what do you mean by software? Software is a nothing. It is a one type of network operating system, we can say. All the network protocols which we are using here, so all comes under this software. So the thing is, what do you mean by protocols? Very firstly, what do you mean by protocol? So protocols are nothing. It is a set of rules. So protocols are set of rules which we have to follow while communicating over the network. When I want to communicate over the network with one computer to another computer, so obviously at that time we have to follow the set of rules. For example, when I just go to the school, when I enter into the school, at that time I have to follow whatever the rules followed in the school. So same like that, when I want to communicate over the network, I have to follow the set of rules. So that are known as a protocols. So here in the software, a network operating system is the operating system which includes in that, and that is the one type of the software which can handle all the networking tasks. So what is that term? Network operating system. So that is NOS. S. So what is this? This is network operating system. Okay. So next is the network services. So what are the network services? So it is simply a, we can say it refers to all those applications which provide the functionality over the network. Like we have a DNS, that is domain name system. For file sharing, we have FTP. For voice sharing or for exchanging the voice over the internet, we have a VoIP, and so many other protocols are there. So for different services, we have a different protocols, and for everything we have to follow these protocols. Only then we can say these network services, we are enjoying the services over the network. So these all are the components of the computer network. Okay, so let us come to the next topic, types of network. So what are the types of network? Types of network based on geographical spread. So what do you mean by geographical spread? Means the area wise. What is the area which it covers in the network? So according to the area wise, we have a differentiate of 4 parts: PAN, LAN, MAN, WAN. So PAN is a personal area network, and it is a very small. It means it covers only the few area. It is the very smallest. LAN, local area network, it is little bit more. MAN, little bit more. WAN, higher. Means what we say in this. Means this as a hive, this maximum area. And here we have a minimum area. Okay. So in the WAN, we have a maximum. In the mean, we have a minimum. When we move from here and here to this part. Okay. So obviously, MAN is little bit less than WAN, but more than LAN. LAN is a less than MAN, but more than PAN. So in this way, we can spread with the geographical area. So one by one, we'll discuss all these things. Okay, so very first thing is a PAN. So what do you mean by PAN? Just see here, this is a PAN. So from the diagram itself, it is a very clearly visible what is a PAN. In the PAN, there is a very less range. For example, when I switch on my television, I have to take the remote at very small distance in between the television and remote. It is not possible I turn on my television from the neighbor's house. It is not possible. It means that just take the area very little bit. Second, okay, Bluetooth. So Bluetooth has a range also a very minimum. Okay, Wi-Fi, wireless mouse. So in that also we have a range very less. It means we can say what we want to say. The devices within the range of individual person, or we can say within a range of 10 meters only. That all comes under the PAN. So what I want to write here. Okay, it is the interconnection of information technology devices within a range of within the range of an individual person or within the range of 10 meters. Okay. So what are the examples of it? Hotspot. So we can say this hotspot is one of the very good example of it. So when you want to connect with a Bluetooth, so obviously at that time also you have a smaller range. Okay. Then you have a remote. So all these are the examples of the PAN. With this, you can say that it has to take the things which is in the range of only the 10 meters. Okay. So this is all about the PAN. Okay. So next is a LAN. So what do you mean by LAN? LAN are confined to a localized area. Because why? What is its full form? Its full form is a local area network. Name itself tell us it is a local area network. So very first thing, it is confined to a localized area only. Okay, name itself tell us it is to be a in localized area. For example, office, building, any building or any factory, etc. So it means we are saying that LAN is which is confined to a localized area, that is office, building, or a factory. And the geographical area. So we are talking about the geographical area. So it basically spread up to 1 kilometer. It spread up to 1 kilometer. Okay. So we can say that it is spread over the small area only. And second thing, its cost is also less while setting up. Why? Because we are connected with the server only and everything is being shared with the single network. So whenever we just connect all the computers with the server and we are enjoying the services software from the common one, so at that time it always cost less. Okay. So this is one, this is all about the LAN. Okay. So the next is MAN. So MAN name itself signify it is, we know it is a little bit more than, it is a little bit bigger than the LAN. That is a metropolitan area network. Now LAN is confined to a localized area, but the MAN is within a city. If I want to talk about our city, so that includes a MAN. Just see here in the diagram. In the diagram, we have an office building, university campus, government building. So in the whole city, whatever we have the things, we just connect them together. Okay. So it means it becomes a little bit city. That why? Because it spreads an area big as city. Okay, big as a localized area, we have a little bit more area, more bigger area than the localized one. So at that time, it becomes a MAN. Okay, got a point? So we can say that MAN refers to the network that is spread over an area as big as a city. But the thing is, it no doubt it is same as that of LAN, but the LAN is to be for the localized one, but the MAN is for the area more than that. It means it indulge with a full city. Okay, so the next is WAN. So WAN, for I think WAN is a very much clear to everyone, because nowadays we are using a WAN as well. So the very big example of WAN is our internet. That's why it is written as the internet. Firstly, the internet is giant WAN, in fact, because everybody is using, and whenever we want to connect all over the world, it spread all over the world. Means the area is not confined, and it has an area we can't imagine even. It means it spread over a very large area. So we can't take it is in a number itself. We only write it as a very large area. And obviously it is, if the different computers are connected within a various countries even, so obviously at that time, whatever the setup cost requirement is there, so that is a little bit more. So it costs higher to set it up. Okay, so for the setting, it costs little bit higher. And obviously it connects many networks together also, because we are connecting the all over the world. So it connects usually a network of many networks. It connects usually network of many networks. Okay, so this is all about the WAN. WAN connects the all over the world, like our internet. If I want to chat with my cousin or a friend who is in England and I'm in India, so I can easily do that. Okay, so this is a what? This is the WAN, that is wide area network. Okay. Okay, just see here, comparison of all the network. So very small is a PAN, then after that it is a LAN, then MAN, then WAN. So just see here, the very smallest is a PAN here, just see. So it is around one person. Why? Because the Bluetooth, remote. Okay, so means we have a small distance. LAN, little bit, it's more. It's for the room, it's for building, or it's for campus. It's little bit more. Room ke liye 10 meter, building 100, campus ke liye 1 kilometer. Then it goes to for the city. For the full city, it may be a 10 kilometers. Then it across going to country, continent. So that is a when. So this diagram, what it depicts according to the geographical size of all these type of the network. So commonly we have how many type of the networks? 4. That is a PAN, that is a very small. It takes the data at a very small range. Then LAN, little bit more within a room, within a building, or within a campus. Then little bit more exceed within a city. That is a MAN. And after that, after the city, when we want to the connect with the different countries, different continents, so it is little bit more also. That is a WAN. So this is what this is all about, the types of network. Okay, now these all are the types of network according to the geographical spread, means according to the ranges, how much it covered. Okay, so next is a what is the one next of the types of network by component role. So what is the role of all these things? Got it? So there are the type of networks, the classification of the type of networks according to the two type. One is for the geographical spread, like what is the distance covered by them, and second is of by component role. What is the role of all these one? So that is the component role. So we have a two type of network, P2P and client to server network. So now what do you mean by P2P network? So P2P is a peer-to-peer. Now, what do you mean by this peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer means, suppose, I'm just firstly giving you example. You have a WhatsApp group, and in the WhatsApp group, one person just give the problem in the group, and any other person can solve that. Okay, at that time, the person who have a problem is a client, and who solve it is treated as a server. Okay, in the next day, one another person is giving a problem in the group, and some other person has solved that. Means at that time, that behave as a client, and who solve it, that behave as a server. It means what do you mean by this? It means there is a no dedicated server or a client in this one. Okay, so there is a no dedicated one. Means according to the problem, they can treat it as a server, or they can treat it as a client as well. So these are often termed as a non-dedicated server. So what is also it is known as a non-dedicated servers. Why? Because there is a no exact server in between them. Just see here in this diagram, there is a no exact server. Okay, so anybody, just see, there is no server. Arrow is moving from here to here, here to here, here to everywhere the arrow is moving. So suppose this computer have a problem. Okay, so at this time, this is served as a client, and this will, it just give the answers to his problem. So this will treat as a server. Next time, this has a problem, and this computer gives the solution. So at this time, this will behave as a client, and this will behave as a server. So what do you mean by this thing? It means there is a no computer which behave like a server always. According to the application, according to the server, any computer can behave as a server or as well as client. So that's why we are saying that it is a non-dedicated server. And one thing more in this, what we have a no central control. Because we have a no server, so it means we have a no central control. There is a no central one who just check the security, because everyone is a independent. Everybody can behave as a independent. So what I have written here, no central control over the security. Okay, so anyone can do that. Second, what I have to say here, clients are not dependent on central server. Because there is a no central server, anyone can behave that. So it is not dependent on central server. And one more advantage of this is each computer can take their data backup. Okay, so nobody is saying that server is the one only who just take the data backup. So each one, because everyone can treat as a server or a client. So obviously we can say that each computer has to be backed up. Everyone can take up. Okay, so each computer has to be backed up. Okay, so one more. If I'm saying there is a no central server, so at that time, if any computer will fail to work, so it will not affect on the other computer. So if one computer fails, it will not affect on others. Got it? So these are some points of the P2P. P2P is peer-to-peer network. Okay, so come to the next one. That is a client-server network. Client-server network name itself signify there is a one central server in between them. It means this is a one, this server. So I just write this is a server. So this server controls the security. Server controls the security of the network. So server is the one who only controls the security of the network. Because client is the one who just requests all the resources from the server, and server is the one who is responsible for giving each and everything to the clients only. And server is the one only who just take the backup of the data. So it means server controls the security of the network. And clients are the one who are dependent on the server. So clients are dependent on server. So clients are what? Clients are dependent on the server. Okay. And whatever the data is to be backed up, it has to be done by the server only. So only backup of the data will be done by the server. So I just write also. Data backup. So client is not responsible for doing the data backup. Okay. So again, I am saying what is the difference between this P2P and client server? So client here are dependent on the server only. Server is the one who is responsible to fulfill all the requests of the client, and the server is only the one who just take the data backup. Client will not take a data backup because every data is to be focused on the or to saved on the server only. That is the main server only. And the server can be upgraded also if the high demand is to be required. It has to be upgraded also. Okay. Okay. So this is what about the client server network. So there is the same, just see the difference now. In the peer, everyone is connected to the another one, but in the server, what it is doing, they are connected each one with this server. This one is server. So these all are the clients here. So all the clients are connected to this server one, but in this peer-to-peer, no central service is there. Everyone is connected to anyone. So this here, no central security is there, no central control is there, but in the server base, one central control is to be there, and in this data is to be backed up on this server only, and here every computer will take the data backup because there is no central control. Okay, so this is all about the type of network. So next is what? Next is the switching techniques. So what do you mean by switching techniques very firstly? So switching techniques are used for transmitting data across the network. So what are these things? These are used to transmitting data across the networks. So whenever I want to transmit the data across the network, we have to follow the switching techniques. So the various switching techniques are there. One by one, we'll discuss all the switching techniques. So there are three types of the switching techniques. So very firstly, move to the first switching techniques. That is the circuit switching. Now, what do you mean by circuit switching? Just see in this diagram. In the circuit switching, here is a sender, here is the receiver. So all this is what switching office. So I just give you one example very firstly. When I want to talk with my friend, firstly, I have to call, I have to dial the dial number of my friend on my mobile. So whenever the bell rings, it means what? It means the proper connection is established between the twos. Between the twos, who is one? One is I obviously I just call my friend. One, I am the first and my friend is the second. Means therefore, in very firstly, there should be a proper connection between the twos. So in the computer language, we have a one side sender. This is a sender and this is a receiver. So there is a properly connection between the twos, and then only data are transmitted from the source to the computer. Okay, so just see here, this is the sender, this is the receiver. Just see, this is the proper connection establishment. Okay, so when physical connection is set up, then only the connection is to be made. In same like that, in the circuit switching, firstly, the complete physical connection between the two computers is established and then data are transmitted only. Okay, so what is this? Firstly, the complete physical connection between two computers is established and then data are transmitted from source computer to destination computer. Okay, so one more point is here. The important point of the circuit switching is also it is set up in end-to-end path connection. So we can say it as a end-to-end path connection. So what do you mean by this end-to-end path connection? End-to-end path connection means what? It means there is a proper connection between the one center and one destination point. That's why it is known as a end-to-end path connection. Okay, so this is all about the circuit switching. Move to the next. Next is the message switching. Now, what do you mean by the message switching? In the message, very firstly, it follows the store and forward technique. Now, what do you mean by this stored and forward technique? Stored and forward technique means it saves the data firstly and then forward the data to the another one. It means what? It saves the data to the firstly this switching office. But saves the data, it means it saves the data in the buffer only. Buffer is what? It is a temporary storage area. So it firstly stored the data in the buffer firstly, and then it looks for the free link where it has to be sent the data. It just check which route is to be free, which link is to be free. Then it connects that link to the another switching office and then again sends the data. It means it is not send the data directly. Just see here, if they want to store M1 here, message 1. So firstly, it moves from here. Here it stores the buffer, then it goes here, M1, then it goes here, and then it goes here. It means what? It firstly stores the data into the switching office first, means which stores the data in the buffer. And after that, it looks for the another free link where it has to be sent the data. And then in the last, it is to be reached at the destination point. So what is to be written here? Source computer sends data to switching office firstly, which stores data in buffer. After that, what it has to do? It then looks for a free link to another switching office and then sends the data. And then sends the data. So this process is continued until the data are delivered to the destination computers. So this has to be continued till it receives by the destination computer. Okay. So again, I'm saying what it does. It basically works on this store and forward technique. Source computer sends this data to the switching office. So it firstly sends the data to the switching office and then it stores it in the buffer here. It puts the data sometime in the buffer here. After that, it looks for the free link, means here it is a link, here it is a link. So it just check for the free link, means for the another switching office, it check the route. And whenever it frees, at that time, it sends the data. And in this way, it just continues this process again and again until unless the data is to be reached at the destination computer. So this whole part comes under the message switching, store and forward technique. Firstly, we have to store it, and after that, we have to forward it whenever the link will be a free. So this is all about the message switching. Next is the packet switching. So what do you mean by packet switching? So in the packet switching, firstly, one thing, there is a no limit on the block size. Very first thing. No limit. So it can be of any big. No limit on block size. So we can okay, so packet switching, no limit on block size in message switching. So that is the one disadvantage of message switching, but packet switching places a upper limit on block size. So there is a one disadvantage of the message switching. We cannot put a limit on the block size. We can send any block limit data in the message switching, but that is one disadvantage. So in the packet switching, there is a one advantage over the message switching, that we put a upper limit on that. It means a fixed size of the packet can be transmitted across the network. So we can say, obviously, if there will be a limit only, then we can say that a fixed size. So fixed size of packet can be transmitted across the network. Okay. Why? Because fixed size of packet can be transmitted, because we have an upper limit on that. So we can put a fixed size of packet over the network. Another point of difference from the message switching is that data packets are stored on the disk is message in. Another point of this difference is that data packets are stored on the disk, but in message switching, whereas in the packet switching, all the packets are stored in the main memory. Okay. What the thing is, in the, I just write here, in the message switching, where the data is to be stored, that is in the disk. But in this packet switching, all the packets are stored in the main memory. Okay. So here we are put the data into the main memory, and here we have putting the data into the disk. Okay. In the message switching, we put the data into the disk, but in the packet switching, we put the data into the main memory. So when the data is to be put into the main memory, so obviously it will improve the performance of the access time also. So it basically improve the performance also. So I just write improve performance, because when the data is into the main memory, so the access time means fetching the data time is to be a less. So what is this? Improve the performance also. Okay. So this is all about the packet switching. Same like that, we just divide the packets into a small, we divide the data into a small packets, and we put the numbers over that. Why we put the numbering over that? So that when the data is to be reached at the destination point, so we just the all packets are put in the random manner at the destination point. So when it will be reached at the destination, at that time we have to again reassemble that, because before ahead the everything is to be not assembled properly. All the packets are to be moved from the different links. So when it will be reached at the destination, obviously first packet will reach at the end, third packet will reach in the beginning, fourth packet will reach in the second point. So it means the counting is the different, means it will not reach packet 1, packet 2, packet 3, packet 4. It does not come like that. It is in the different order. So in the at the destination point, we have to again reassemble the orders. So this is all about the packet switching. Okay, so this is all about the switching, and till here we have done with the various type of networks and with the various switching techniques. So in the next video, we'll start with the new topic. So keep subscribing my channel to get the new notification of my videos. Thank you so much.